William Bain Macpherson, a Lochaber man, died in 1777, aged 100 years old. But he always related a tale to anyone who would listen about something that happened when he was 12. At that time, he was working as a shepherd near Dalwhinnie, and on that day he was an eyewitness to a pursuit on a very large scale, probably one of the largest that was ever to pass through Badenoch. At noon on that fine autumnal day in 1689, his attention was drawn to a herd of black cattle, amounting to around 120, being driven along by about a dozen wild Lochaber men by the banks of Loch Erroch in Perthshire. They were heading towards Dulunkart in the forest of Ben Alder, now Ardvareki. On making some inquiries, the young boy ascertained that the cattle had been taken from Aberdeenshire, more than 100 miles away, and that the reivers had made it this far with the stolen cattle without any questions asked. They continued on their way among the wilds of the Grampian Hills, far from civilization, but within a day of arriving at their homes. Only a few hours passed after the departure of the marauders when a body of around 50 horsemen appeared, making their way across the rocky ground and marshes that cover the area. There was no footpath that they could use, nor a road, so it was heavy going. The horsemen were all armed and led by a person of gentlemanly appearance, and when asking anyone he met for information, was very courteous towards them. Along with the mounted men were a number of horses, all carrying bags of meal and provisions, not only for the support of the troop, but also as payment for the return of the cattle from the thieves. Signalling William Bain to approach, the leader questioned him and asked for minute details about the movement of the Lochaber men. How many of them were there? What was their route? And what equipment did they have with them? The troop set off along the precipitous banks of Loch Erroch, accompanied by young William, who wanted to know the outcome of the whole affair. It shows the mettle of the men who were risking their lives to find the Lochaber men. The thieves were in familiar country, whereas the troop weren't, and they had the added protection of locals. At any point, a signal could have gone up, and the horsemen could have been surrounded by a group of angry Lochaber crofters and shepherds who were ready to defend the reivers. Towards nightfall, the party arrived near to the camp where the thieves had settled for the night at Dulunkart. Watching them from a distance, they could see the men were busy roasting a newly slaughtered beast over a large campfire. A council of war was convened, and it was suggested by the leader of the troop that one or two of his men should advance towards the Lochaber men and offer them a bag of meal for each man and a pair of shoes in return for the herd of cattle. However, the Lochaber men saw this as proof of cowardice and fear, so the offer was stoutly refused by the cattle rustlers. A reply was sent to the effect that the cattle had been driven so far, and with it having been so much trouble, would not be surrendered. Having gathered in the herd, both sides prepared for action in the standoff. The overwhelming number in the troop soon overwhelmed the cattle thieves. With shots being fired, more and more of the Lochaber men dropped to the ground, killed or injured by the volley of bullets, with only 3 of them remaining unharmed. The 3 uninjured men ran as fast as they could into the night, leaving the cattle behind, and went on to relay the story of their escape to anyone who would listen to their tale. If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.